Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Oz Country Down Under Monday Night Live. Here we are, of course. I'm in Beijing. I do have with me Danny Shaw, and she's in, where is she? She's in Tasmania, of course. There she is. And tonight we have a special guest with us all the way from New Zealand. So please remember the time difference. It is 10 o'clock over there right now. And she's the closest to Christmas than anybody. So please welcome Jody Direen. How are you, Jody?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
No worries, no worries. And hi, Danny. How are you down there?
I'm good.
I'm so jealous of Tasmania. I love Tasmania.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, it's not long since you were down here.
No, I loved it. I actually got a little bit of time when I was down there to look around, and yeah, it's an amazing place.
It's very similar to New Zealand.
Nicholas Binns has joined us. He said he was standing by for transmission because when we started it said standing by for transmission. So g'day, Nicholas.
Hey, Nick.
All right.
Hi, Brendan.
So let's start with the let's go all the way back. Oz Country Down Under is obviously fairly new. You've been around for quite some time now. Please tell us how your country journey began.
It began probably when I was 9 years old, I think. To be honest, I think country music's in my blood, my DNA a little bit. But when I was 9, I remember watching a Shania Twain Live in Chicago DVD. And I just remember watching it and being absolutely mesmerized by it. And this fire in my belly was kind of installed. And I just remember thinking, that's what I want to do. From that point, my grandma was a big influence in my life. She was a country singer. She played guitar. She taught me how to play my first song. It was like Pistol Pickin' Mama, I think. And then, Johnny Cash, the Ritalin songs. So she was a huge influence in my life. And then I was always surrounded by country music, rock and roll music, kind of classic rock music, just music with soul, And I don't know, it just struck a chord with me, no pun intended. And yeah, I just kind of knew that's what I wanted to do and that's who I wanted to be. And I think in life, we all can choose our own path in a way. And so that's what I chose.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just looking at my face. I look like a ghost. I look so
You look fine, don't worry.
I need to dance.
It's Christmas Eve. It's Christmas Eve. We should all be in bed so Santa comes. Do you still play that first song that your grandmother taught you on guitar? Do you still play that song in your shows?
I don't play the Pistol Pickin' Mama one, but I do play the Johnny Cash one.
Very good. Very good. Now I got a question for you. In New Zealand, you've been dubbed as the New Zealand Queen of Country. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's humbling. It's amazing. I guess I just do what I do. Like I don't need those kind of labels, I suppose. But it's really cool, I guess, like that people think that. New Zealand's a relatively small country, but there is a great market and fan base over here for country music. There's a lot of country music fans here. And, there's a very small group of artists who are kind of doing it here, I suppose. I travel a lot between Australia and New Zealand. But, yeah, my core fan base definitely started in New Zealand. And I suppose, they've really grown with me right from when I was 18 years old playing in bars. So I suppose, yeah, I don't even really know where that came from. I think there was a newspaper article came up after maybe a bigger show that I did in New Zealand. I think I might have supported when I supported Kenny Rogers, I think it was. And, it just kind of came from the media a little bit, that slogan, so to speak, and it's kind of stuck. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I just love. I feel like music is a gift, to give to people.
Sure.
So that's why I do what I do. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
How much do you
Absolutely.
think you styled yourself off Shania Twain? Like you watched this DVD so long ago. I remember Shania Twain. I remember Come On Over. That album was phenomenal. I used to play it all the time, and I'm a guy. I shouldn't say that. How much do you think you took from that to become you?
A lot.
Mm.
Yeah.
I actually saw Shania Twain live on Saturday night here in New Zealand.
Yep.
And this is the second time I've seen her live. I saw her live maybe 6 years ago in Vegas at Caesar's Palace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was like a dream come true because she really has been probably my top influencer in terms of making music and becoming who I am as an artist. I think I loved her and Mutt, her producer at the time, husband, were kind of the first to bring country and rock together.
Yeah.
And that's my thing, you know. I love like your real. Don't get me wrong, I love your real classic country, but I really love the kind of boldness of the rock world and the pop world in country. I think that they're all great genres of music, and I really respect what Shania and Mutt did together. And I just think her music is just so timeless, you know, like. And it's just such good feel music, you know. That's why she got so big, I guess, you know. But I think, I don't know, I just love her. I love all of that music, and I love who she is as a person. And I really did follow her, and you know, seeing her live on Saturday night, kind of, you know, a good 9 years on from when I started out my musical journey. It was quite an emotional time at the show, really, in a really good way. It was like, wow, like it kind of made me realize how much she has influenced me, I guess, you know, seeing her live, you know, kind of 6 to 9, you know, 9 years on from when I started my dream. And it kind of just inspired me even more, you know, like seeing her live on Saturday night. I was like, you know, like, 'cause she didn't get, you know, famous and really get known until she was in her early 30s, you know. So it was a good build for her. So I think any artist can take away from that you know, it's a journey. It's a real journey. You know, these overnight successes don't really exist. It's kind of so it's quite encouraging as well, you know, from that perspective as well. Yeah.
For sure. Now, you play in Australia as well. You've done a lot of the festivals there. You've played with some of the great guys. What was it? The Wolf Brothers, Caitlin, Christy Lamb, Troy Kemp. You played with some of the great guys. One of the questions I have for you, all right, is who is your favourite Australian female country singer?
Oh, they're all my friends. You can't put me in this position. Oh God. Oh, that is so mean.
I like putting our artists on the spot with just one question.
You know what? I really struggle to have favorites. I really do. People ask me, you know, what's my favorite song? It changes all the time. It evolves all the time. I think at the moment, you know what? At the moment, I am really digging the McCliments. I've actually just learned one of their songs to perform at some of my shows. House. I love their song House. And I really relate to the song myself. So I guess they're a group, you know, a female group. Yeah. So it doesn't really answer your question, but I think that's
three. All right, Danny, hit it.
No, you're right. You've just cut out for a second, Dave. I can't actually hear you.
That's right. That's fine. Your turn, Danny.
You there? I noticed that you've got a festival that you have a lot to do with on New Year's Eve coming up in New Zealand. You've got 3 shows coming up this week. Is that right?
Yeah, I've actually only got one on New Year's Eve. Between now and
New Year's Eve, yeah.
Just the one on New Year's Eve, yeah.
Yeah. Is that the festival that you've had a lot to do with that festival, haven't you?
Yeah, so I created Top Paddock Music Festival. Well, it's actually iHeartRadio Top Paddock Music Festival now. iHeartRadio come on board as our naming partner, which is awesome. But yeah, I created the festival about 4 years ago, and this is the 3rd year. And I created it because, you know, I was really quite inspired by, you know, the kind of country music scene in Australia and a lot of the country festivals there. And I felt like, you know, New Zealand needs that. And it's turned into something that, you know, is becoming a really great event. Well, always has been a great event, but it's growing, you know, which is awesome. And it's a great vehicle for country music in New Zealand, and it's also a great platform for me to be able to invite my Aussie artist friends over to perform to the New Zealand crowd. So, like, I've had Jared Porter, I've had Christy Lamb, I've had Judah Kelly. This year I've got Hurricane Full and Jermaine. I would love to get, you know, the Wolf Brothers over. I would eventually love to get Lee Kernaghan over here. The McClymans. I would love to be able to have them all over here and play. Me personally, like, I know, you know, New Zealand and Australia are different countries, but we're so close in so many ways, you know, like it's literally like a 2.5, 3 hour flight, which is shorter than, you know, some of the domestic flights within Australia. So I treat it as one big country, you know. I don't really like to separate it out too much because I feel like, you know, Australia has offered me so much as an artist, and I feel so welcomed into the country music family in Australia, and it's so amazing. And I would really love to be able to do the same thing for Australian artists.
And that's what Australian country music has always done. Yeah, absolutely. Australian country music has always been, Australian and New Zealand country music, we've always been the one. We've always seen it under that one hat, and you know, it's just always been that way. We see each other as one, which is fantastic because
it's so evident as well. You know, me coming over there as a young artist, I really had no idea what to expect. I was pretty nervous at first. You know, I had hardly been to Australia, and just so supported over there. It's amazing. I feel so lucky. Yeah.
Okay, so now Nicholas has asked a question.
He has.
Here's the question.
Oh, done.
What's the story about Bear Grylls discovering you at Lone Star Steakhouse?
Wow, I wonder how he must have Googled that. I don't know how he found that.
Yes, I reckon he did.
This is true. So this is probably it's going back a few years. Well, not like ages, when maybe like 5 years ago. You know, I was still kind of in the early-ish stages of my career, and I was playing a bar gig on St. Patrick's Day in my hometown of Wanaka in New Zealand, which is a very mountainous, alpine adventure kind of town. And Bear Grylls happened to be filming over here on that particular weekend, and his management team happened to be at my show, just dining there that night, and they watched me perform. I had no idea who they were. I just thought they were American tourists. And anyway, one of their team came over to me afterwards and asked for my contact details and introduced himself and kind of took me outside and sat me down and, you know, bought me a drink and was like, we want to help you. Like, we deserve exposure in America. And, you know, as artists, sometimes things like that just seem a little bit too good to be true. And, like, you know, as artists, you do kind of sometimes get people like that who kind of, you know, just to kind of make out they can help you, but really they're kind of, you know, kind of shit. So I was a little bit like, is this real? You know, like, I don't know. But
Yeah.
anyway, he contacted me and invited me over to America. And it just turned out that I was actually heading over there anyway to record my second album. So I stayed with him in LA for a few days. I almost met Bear, but we just kind of missed paths, unfortunately. He had to fly off somewhere. But anyway, they basically are a talent management company, right? And they wanted me to be their first signed artist. And so we worked together for about 6 months in America. And at the end of it, you know, they helped me a lot. They opened a lot of doors for me. They really, during that 6 months, you know, it was a really amazing experience. You know, as a young artist, I was, you know, 22 or something. I didn't really have a lot of business kind of music-minded support around me at the time, and kind of getting over to America as a young girl, a little bit naive. I mean, the complete truth is that I actually walked away from it. I don't think I was ready. And it was just a little bit scary. And you know, sometimes I think back and I'm like, oh, maybe I should have, you know, carried on down that line. But I actually think that I really wasn't ready. And so I think that it was the right thing to do at the end of the day. And, you know, I've grown a lot as an artist since then. And, you know, there's a lot of doors open right now, which is awesome. But yeah, that's what happened. So that is true. I did work with that company, and yeah, I walked away.
A couple more questions, because I know we want to keep it short tonight, because obviously you're closer to Christmas than anyone else.
First, hey, look, don't stress. It's all good. I'm not too concerned. Just whatever.
All right. First up, Danny Shaw, what is your favorite Jody Direen song?
That's a hard one, actually. I was listening to them again today because I can't choose. I've
got one.
Honestly, you have one. I can't choose. I was thinking about it today, and no, I like them all. I cannot choose one. I cannot choose one. I was trying to think of one. I knew you were going to put me on the spot and ask me that today.
Correct.
And it changes on my mood.
All right. So I actually knew nothing about you because, one, I've lived in China for 9 years. I lived in Beijing. I've lived in Beijing for the last 3 years. But when I found you, when I started working with MCA and then changing it over to Oz Country Down Under, when I found you, I found this song that just blew my mind, and I was like, that's it. I love this girl. Spitfire. Love the song. Spitfire is awesome.
Awesome. That's my favorite song of mine as well.
There you go.
Really?
Oh.
It is.
That song, that only took you 2 hours to write too, didn't it? It was a very quick write.
Just went blah. But like, it was just, I don't know, it was fueled by red wine, I will admit. And it just was just like this, I don't know, good feel party song, you know, a little bit Def Leppard, a little bit kind of just big, you know. Very, actually, like that song in particular comes back to the Shania Twain thing, you know. Mutt Lange produced Def Leppard, right?
Does, yeah.
So the same guy that produced Def Leppard produced Shania Twain's music.
That's right, of course.
You know,
he also produced Bryan Adams, some of AC/DC songs. Yeah, absolutely awesome.
Right? Yeah. So, so he, you know, uses these huge walls of guitars, like think Def Leppard, AC/DC, you know, big reverse drums, big bass drops, and like not so much bass drops, but yeah, you know what I'm trying to say, just big. And so that particular song, I wanted the production of that to be like Mutt Lange style of production, and my producer Stuart from Brisbane really nailed it. I was just, it's just huge, and but then it's got that kind of like those pop kind of elements in it as well, with the big bass drops, and then but then you got the country guitar and obviously my voice, which will always be country, in there as well. So it kind of brings the three worlds together, and yeah, I love performing that song live. It just kicks ass. Yeah.
It does. It absolutely does. And I mean, the video is mostly a live video. We have it on our YouTube channel. We played it on there. Don't worry. And so yeah, when I started researching, country music in New Zealand, because I know a lot about country music in Australia, but not about country music in New Zealand. So when I started researching, your name came up, and that song was the first I heard, and I was just, that's it. I was just done. I was like, thank you very much. I'll take that.
I have a question that I was actually asked earlier in the week, and it's not come up on our feed, but I was asked earlier in the week. What advice would you started early at 9 years old, your grandmother taught you guitar. What advice do you have for anybody at 9 years old that had that same feeling that you did when you watched the Shania Twain live DVD? Your grandmother gave you the guitar and taught you that song. What advice do you have for anybody that has those same feelings now? What advice do you give them?
It's hard. I think that no matter how much advice you give somebody, I think that at the end of the day, they've got to evolve in their own way. Everyone's different.
It's their own road, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I think sometimes I just think follow your gut, follow your heart. There was a time where I got really tied up in not following my own kind of advice, but relying too much on other people's opinions and advice. And I think that's dangerous ground. It kind of led me off path a little bit for a while, because, the music world is such a crazy ride. And you kind of sometimes feel like you're being pulled in so many different directions. And so I think in some ways, the advice I would give is be careful what advice you take, just always stay true to yourself. And no matter how influential someone might seem or how important someone's advice may be, you've got to put you first and go with what you feel. Because as soon as you move out of that, and as soon as you start becoming a people pleaser and a yes person, you lose yourself. So yeah, I would just say, at 9 years old, that's probably a bit complex, to understand, but I would just encourage a 9-year-old who loves music just to get in front of as many people as they can from a young age, and getting comfortable on the stage, and comfortable in their own skin and trusting themselves on stage as well. I think learning to trust yourself on stage is a really big skill that, develops, unless you're some freak nature of a little kid that just has no fear and can sing perfectly from the age of 9, which does exist. But I think, for me personally, I wasn't naturally able to get up in front of people as a young girl. Like, I had confidence, but there was still a part of me that doubted myself every time I got up there, and I've had to work through that as I've grown older. And so I think as a 9-year-old, I think it's kind of protecting that, like getting out there and just, like really learning and parents and the people who are supporting the kids to really help them trust themselves, like don't be too critical or anything, for a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
All right, check this comment out. This just came from Nicholas Spins, and we were talking about your Give Me the Beat. It's super catchy, and I do crank that singing at the top of my lungs with the windows down with no cares in the world. There you go. That's his favourite.
It's awesome. Give Me the Beat's probably been my biggest song as an artist so far.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. I love hearing stuff like that. I really do.
And Brock Terry said he likes Give Me the Beat, Dirt Rich, and Spitfire.
Yeah, the three singles off the album. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And obviously Dirt Rich is also a great song. Now, Brock Terry also asked you, what is your favourite Christmas song?
My favourite Christmas song is Do You Hear What I Hear? Carrie Underwood's Underwood's live version, not her recorded version.
Mm-hmm.
It's her live version. So if you guys search YouTube, Carrie Underwood, Do You Hear What I Hear? I think it's like the second or third one down. It's not like the first one because that's like the recorded lyric video. It's like the third one. I think she must have been playing in like New York Square or whatever for like the Christmas show that they have there. Really cool version. So yeah, at this time of the year, I always play that carol when I'm at.
Okay, well I'm gonna hit Danny Shaw with the same question, seeing we're there. Favorite Christmas song? It is Christmas time. What is your favorite Christmas song, Danny?
The Aussie Jingle Bells.
I was going to say the same bloody thing. Aussie Jingle Bells, that's it, all the way.
the Sunny Cowgirls, is it all you can eat? All you can eat for Christmas.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, very good.
That's another good one. All I can eat.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right.
With
Carrie
Underwood,
Jody, it is Christmas time, and I want to know: have you been naughty or nice this year?
I've definitely been nice. No, I have been nice. I've been nice, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm naughty.
I'm not going to say you've been.
Look, I've definitely. I've definitely had the odd party. I'm a party girl most of the time. Sometimes I tire myself out and I have to stop. But there's definitely been, a few parties along the way this year. So I don't know if you call that naughty, but I think my body calls me naughty sometimes after it.
Talking about parties, you're heading down under again. I believe it's you've got some shows in Tamworth. Tell us where we can see you in Tamworth.
Yeah, Tamworth Country Music Festival. Oh my God, I have like 12 shows or something across the 10 days. So I can't remember them all like off the top of my head right now, but I'm at like the Imperial, the Southgate, the what's the one? Oh my God, my brain. I made like the Town Hall. I can't remember. They're on my website, jodydureen.com. I have 12 shows. I'm kind of getting through New Year's, and then like I'll lock them all into my brain. Well, your upcoming shows on your website. The 31st of December, the iHeartRadio Top Paddock Music Festival, which you have created. The 3rd of January, Jody Direen live in Haast, New Zealand. And the Cromwell Wine and Food Festival on the 5th of January in Cromwell in New Zealand. Then you fly to Australia and you are at the Long Yard Hotel in Tamworth, Australia on the 18th of January. You forgot the Long Yard. Long Yard, yeah, that's the first of 12 shows. And I am supporting the Wolf Brothers as well on the Wednesday night at the Albert Hotel. So that'll be really fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it's been a half an hour. You said 15 to 20 minutes. We've done double that. Merry Christmas to you. Wish you and all of yours the very, very best. And we look forward to seeing you gigging around Australia in 2019.
I am so excited to keep getting in front of more people over there. It's just an amazing vibe over there. Thank you to all the country music fans in Australia for supporting us artists. And it's really you guys that fuel the culture forward. So thank you guys, and thanks for having me. And Merry Christmas.
No problem.
Merry Christmas.
To you.
Awesome.
All right.
Alrighty.
And all right, thank you very much, Jody Direen. Danny Shaw, Merry Christmas to you and your family. And from everybody here at Oz Country Down Under, Merry Christmas to everybody. And Danny will be back after 1 week's break. We won't be doing one on the 31st. We'll be back on the week after that with more Oz Country Down Under Monday Night Lives.
That's right.
All right. So the first one will be when?
See you in the new year. The first, we'll miss the next week, and we'll be back at the first week of the new year, the first Monday of the new year.
And who will that be?
The Ali S.
Ali S. Okay, Ali S will be with Danny Shaw in the first week of January for Monday Night Live. There you go. That's it for us tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. Until next time, this is Aussie Dave signing out from Beijing, and Danny Shaw from Tasmania, and of course Jody Direen over in New Zealand. See you guys.
Guys, bye.